In the heart of an isolated spaceport, a seasoned captain faces her greatest challenge yet. An alien vessel, battered and on the run, brings with it a cascade of threats and twisted alliances. As old grudges surface, can unity rise from conflict? Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and share your comments about the exciting end of the story. The Mechanic. Let the story begin. The sprawling expanse of Slavron Station drifted quietly in the fringe of the Aguilar Nebula, its jumbled assembly of docking bays and repair hangars, coated in layers of space dust and centuries-old grime. The usual rumble of engines and chatter of crews painted a picture of constant activity. Old, rusty cargo ships, sleek trader vessels, and once glorious cruisers seeking refuge in this forsaken corner of space awaited life-saving repairs. Captain Sylvia Ramirez, with her grizzled hair pulled back under a greasy bandana, wiped her hands on her overalls. Her sleeves were smeared with oil and covered in nicks and burns from years of making the impossible possible. She glanced at the dilapidated ship in her bay, a hodgepodge of mismatched parts from a dozen different worlds. "Rico, pass me the hydrospanner," she called out, her voice echoing in the vast hangar. A lanky young man with a shock of blonde hair handed her the tool, eyes wide with curiosity. "Cap, do you think they used this ship to smuggle something?" "Look at how patched up it is," Ramirez chuckled, the sound deep and genuine. "Around here, Rico, every ship's got a story. Most of them are just good at hiding it." She squatted and began tightening a bolt. "This one's no different. Bits and pieces tell me it's seen more than its share of star systems." As she worked, a shrill alarm blared through the station's PA system, making everyone within the hangar jump. "Attention! Unknown vessel approaching on an emergency trajectory. Prepare for docking." The automated voice rang out, setting off a flurry of activity. "On your feet, everyone!" Ramirez shouted, hopping out from under the ship. "Station protocol, now!" Hundreds of sandals and boots echoed against metal floors as workers rushed to their stations. Ramirez squinted through the observation port and saw the incoming ship plunge through the station's outer perimeter. It looked like a Zolari scout, their elegant design marred by scorch marks and hanging pieces. "What are they doing this far out?" muttered Jax, a barrel-chested mechanic with a face etched by old scars. The station airlock hissed open, revealing a scorched and battered Zolari captain limping out, supported by two of her crew. Her pale skin shimmered faintly despite the soot, and her silver eyes narrowed with determination. "Captain Zyler, I presume?" Ramirez stepped forward, offering a hand. "Welcome to Slavron Station. What brings you into our neck of the woods?" Zyler eyed her warily before shaking the hand, her grip firm. "Desperation, Captain Ramirez. We were ambushed by the Trorax in the Sextant Belt. We barely escaped. My ship needs repairs, and we need them quickly." "We don't normally take Zolari business here," Jax grumbled from behind Ramirez, crossing his arms. Ramirez shot him a look. "We take anyone's business if they have credits and need help. Xylera, bring your ship in. We'll get started immediately." As the Zolari vessel glided into the docking bay, it left a trail of leaking fluids and sputtering energy. Ramirez's crew swarmed around it like ants, assessing damage and beginning preliminary repairs. "Your ship's seen better days," Ramirez commented, running her hands along the hull's damage. Xylera remained tight-lipped, watching her crew hurriedly secure the scout ship. "These are dark times, Captain. The Trorax are becoming more aggressive. But this," she motioned to the damage, "this feels like more than just simple aggression." Ramirez nodded, sensing the weight behind Xylera's words. "Well, you're in good hands. We'll get your bird flying again." She quickly barked orders, dispatching mechanics to various parts of the ship. Rico climbed up to where a large hole gaped in the scout's side. "Cap, this isn't gonna be easy. They've got integrated tech I've never seen." Ramirez grinned, her eyes gleaming with the challenge. "That's why we're here, Rico. Let's show them how humans repair ships." As the work began in earnest, Xylera finally allowed herself a sigh of relief, though her eyes remained sharp, scanning for any signs of treachery. Ramirez gave her a reassuring pat. "We've got this. Just keep your crew calm and leave the fixing to us." The clang and hum of machinery filled the air as Ramirez and her crew worked tirelessly on the Zolari ship. Sparks flew, tools clattered, and the scent of heated metal hung thick around them. Ramirez moved among her team, her hands constantly in motion, applying patches, tightening bolts, and connecting wires with the precision of a surgeon. Xylera stood nearby, her expression a mix of worry and curiosity. She couldn't help but marvel at the efficiency of Ramirez's team. "Your crew is impressive, Captain. They work well together." Ramirez didn't look up from her work. "Takes years to build trust like this. We're more than just a team. We're a family." She glanced at Xylera, her eyes softening slightly. "Do your people have something similar?" Xylera nodded slowly. "Yes, we do. Though our methods may seem cold to others, there's a bond among us. Duty and honor bind us tightly." Rico, working on the upper hull, called down, "Cap, these energy converters are completely fried. No way we can replace them with what we've got." "That's a problem," Ramirez muttered. "Xylera, any chance you have spare converters on board?" Xylera shook her head. "No, we used all our spares in our last battle. Can you improvise?" Ramirez's lips curled into a half smile. "Improvising is what we do best. Jax, get over here. Bring the hybrid converters from the old rust bucket in Bay 3. Jax grumbled but complied, lumbering off to fetch the parts. His heavy footsteps echoed as he went. Moments later, he returned with the converters, dumping them at Ramirez's feet. "These things are ancient, Cap. You really think they'll work?" Ramirez knelt and inspected the parts. "With a bit of tweaking, they will. Trust me." "All right, team, let's make it happen." As Ramirez and her crew resumed their work, a commotion erupted at the station's entrance. A young mechanic, pale and trembling, stumbled in. "Captain Ramirez, you need to see this." Ramirez wiped her hands on a rag and followed the mechanic. They hurried through narrow corridors and up metal stairs until they reached a viewing deck. From here, they could see a small firefight between a squad of Trarax and a few human guards. "Damn it," Ramirez hissed. "The Trarax have found us. Get everyone to their stations. We need to secure this place." Xylera appeared beside her, her eyes narrowing at the sight of the Trarax. "It seems our troubles have followed us. What's your plan?" "Plan's simple. Hold the line and keep them off your ship. You know your way around a blaster?" Xylera's lips curved into a wry smile. "I do." Ramirez nodded. "Good. Grab one from the armory and help our people." "We've got this." Back in the hangar, Rico and Jax intensified their efforts, frantically working to get the Zolari ship operational. The sounds of battle echoed through the station, filling the air with urgency. "Cap, how's it looking out there?" Rico asked, his voice tight with stress. "Not great, but we've been through worse," Ramirez replied, her tone steady. "Keep your focus here. We need that ship ready to fly." Xylera returned with a blaster in hand, quickly taking cover behind some crates. Her shots were precise, taking down Trarax soldiers with practiced ease. Ramirez, now armed too, joined her, the two captains forming an unlikely defensive front line. An explosion rocked the station, shaking the walls and rattling equipment. Dust and debris filled the air, but neither Ramirez nor Xylera wavered. "Status, Jax!" Ramirez shouted over the din, her voice cutting through the chaos. Jax's voice crackled over the comms. "A few more minutes, Cap. We're almost there." Xylera's eyes met Ramirez's, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. Two leaders from different worlds, fighting for survival against a common enemy. As the battle raged on, it became clear that securing the station was only the beginning. The true fight was just starting, and it would take every ounce of their combined strength and ingenuity to face the challenges ahead. The sounds of blasters and explosions faded as the last of the Trarax were subdued. Ramirez and Xylera, both breathing heavily, leaned against a crate, exchanging a nod of mutual respect. Around them, the station buzzed with frantic activity. Mechanics scrambled to repair the damage, while guards dragged the unconscious Trarax away. "You fight well for someone who spends most of her time with a wrench," Xylera remarked, wiping sweat from her brow. Ramirez chuckled. "You'd be surprised what you pick up living out here. We have to be ready for anything." She looked around, assessing the damage. "Looks like we held, but they'll be back. We need to get your ship ready to fly." Xylera's eyes darkened with concern. "My crew is exhausted. They need rest, but we can't afford to wait." Just then, Rico approached, face smudged with grease and worry etched into his features. "Cap, we found something odd during the repairs. A device buried deep in the ship's systems. Looks like a tracker. We think it's how the Trarax found us." Ramirez's face hardened. "A saboteur, then. Someone on board wanted you found. Xylera, any ideas who it might be? Xylera's eyes narrowed, her mind racing through possibilities. It could be anyone. We had no reason to suspect a traitor. This close-knit crew is built on trust. Trust can be a dangerous thing, Ramirez said, motioning for Rico to lead the way. Show us the device. They followed Rico back to the ship, weaving through the chaos of the makeshift repair bay. Inside the Zolari ship, the atmosphere was tense, with Zolari crew members casting wary glances at the humans. Rico led them to a dark corner of the engine room where the device was half buried in wires and circuits. Ramirez examined the small, blinking tracker. This is sophisticated tech. Whoever planted this knew what they were doing. Xylera's eyes flashed with anger. When I find out who did this, they will face justice. Right now, we need to disable it, Ramirez said, pulling out her multi-tool. Rico, help me here. As they worked, Ramirez noticed the strained expressions of the Zolari crew. They were on edge, their trust in each other shaken. She glanced at Xylera. We need to keep your people together. If they start pointing fingers, it's only going to get worse. Xylera nodded. You're right, I'll speak to them. Try to keep the peace. While Ramirez and Rico disabled the tracker, Xylera gathered her crew. Listen to me, she began, her voice firm yet soothing. We have faced much together, and now we face betrayal. But we will overcome this, as we always have. Trust in one another and stand firm. Her words seemed to calm the crew. They nodded, resolute, their faith in their captain evident. Rico straightened, the disabled tracker in his hands. Got it, Cap. It won't be leading anyone here anymore. Good, Ramirez said, turning to Xylera. That should buy us some time. Now let's get your ship operational. Hours passed in a blur of activity. Ramirez, her crew, and the Zolari worked side by side, bridging gaps between their differing technologies with creative solutions. The station's hum of machinery was a comforting symphony, a sign of progress and hope. Jax approached with a grim look on his face. Cap, we've got another problem. Stockroom's running low on essential parts. We've used up most of our supplies. Ramirez sighed, rubbing her temples. That's just great. We might be able to salvage some parts from the old wrecks in Bay 4. It's a long shot, but it's all we've got. Xylera stepped forward. We'll help. Your station defended us. It's only right we do what we can. With a small team of humans and Zolari, Ramirez led the way to Bay 4, a graveyard of ships long forgotten. They began scavenging for usable parts, working quickly and efficiently. Cap, over here, Rico called, lifting a piece of equipment triumphantly. This might work. Ramirez smiled, her spirits lifting slightly. Good find, Rico. Let's get it back and see what we can do. As they hauled the parts back to the ship, the sense of unity between the two groups grew stronger. Despite their differences, a shared goal and mutual respect had begun to form a bond. Finally, in the midst of the repaired chaos, Xylera turned to Ramirez. No matter what happens after this, know that you and your crew have earned the respect of the Zolari. You have my gratitude. Ramirez looked her in the eye, a rare softness in her expression. And you've earned ours. Now let's finish this job and get your ship flying again. The hangar buzzed with a mix of urgency and determination. The makeshift repairs were nearing completion, and a sense of anticipation crackled in the air. Ramirez and her crew alongside the Zolari worked tirelessly, hands moving with practiced precision. Wires were soldered, panels patched, and diagnostic screens flickered to life with hopeful readings. Ramirez wiped the sweat from her brow, glancing at the team. Almost there, she muttered. We're making good time. Xylera stood beside her, scrutinizing the readouts. You and your crew have done the impossible, Captain. My people will remember this. Before Ramirez could respond, the station's alarms blared again, echoing through the vast space. Rico sprinted over, his face pale. Cap, we've got incoming. A whole squadron of Turax fighters. Ramirez's heart pounded. Damn it. All right, everyone, listen up. We need that ship off the ground now. Rico, Jax, double time on those final checks. Xylera, get your crew ready for takeoff. Xylera's eyes flashed with determination. Understood. She turned to her crew, shouting commands. We launch in 5 minutes. Prepare for immediate departure. As the final touches were made, Ramirez's mind raced. They needed an edge, something to tip the scales in their favor. An idea sparked. Jax, Rico, get the EMP cannon prepped and loaded. We're taking the Trarax down with one shot. Jax looked skeptical. Cap, that cannon's experimental. We've never tested it in combat. Ramirez's eyes burned with resolve. We don't have a choice. It's now or never. Get it ready. With hurried efficiency, the makeshift weapon was attached to the Zolari ship's underbelly. The EMP cannon, a sleek and menacing device, hummed with latent power. Xylara approached Ramirez, her expression a mixture of hope and anxiety. What's the plan? We're using the EMP cannon, Ramirez explained. It will disable their ships long enough for you to make your escape. After that, it's up to you. Xylara placed a hand on Ramirez's shoulder. Thank you, Captain. We won't forget this. The Zolari ship's engines roared to life, the hum of power signaling its readiness. As the hangar doors slid open, the cold void of space beckoned. Trarax fighters loomed just beyond, their formations tight and menacing. All right, everyone, Ramirez's voice crackled over the comms. Hold steady. Fire on my mark. The Zolari ship launched from the hangar, sleek and swift. Ramirez gripped the controls of the EMP cannon, staring down the targeting reticule. Her breath slowed, focus sharpening. Now, she shouted, pulling the trigger. A brilliant blue pulse shot from the cannon, streaking through space and enveloping the Trarax fighters. Sparks flew, systems shorted, and the fighters drifted helplessly, their power cut. Xylara's voice came over the comms, filled with relief. The EMP worked. We're clear. Ramirez exhaled, a weight lifting from her shoulders. Good. Now get out of here. We'll cover your retreat. As the Zolari ship sped into the darkness, Ramirez turned to her crew. Prep for combat. The Trarax will recover soon. We need to be ready. Jax nodded, already directing the defensive efforts. We'll hold them off, Cap, long enough for them to get away. Minutes stretched into eternity as the station braced for the inevitable counterattack. Ramirez's gaze never left the viewport, watching the Trarax fighters slowly regain power. Her thoughts flickered to the crew she'd come to respect in the fight they faced together. The Trarax fighters roared back to life, engines flaring. Ramirez clenched her fists. Here they come! Hold the line! The ensuing battle was fierce. Blasters fired, ships weaved through space, and debris spiraled into the void. Despite the chaos, Ramirez's crew fought with unmatched tenacity, their camaraderie forged in the fires of survival. Through the haze of combat, the Zolari ship faded into the distance, a beacon of hope amid the turmoil. Ramirez knew their escape had been possible because of the fragile alliance they'd built in such a short time. The station shuddered under the assault, but the resolve of its defenders never wavered. As the last Trarax fighter was disabled, silence settled over the hangar. Ramirez looked around, taking in the exhausted but triumphant faces of her crew. Xylara's voice crackled over the comms one final time. We're safe. Thank you, Sylvia. You saved us. Ramirez allowed herself a rare smile. Safe travels, Xylara. Take care of that ship. As the battle-worn station began its repairs, Ramirez knew this victory would ripple through the stars, a testament to the unbreakable spirit and ingenuity of those who called Slavron Station home. Ramirez stood on the observation deck, looking out at the stars. The battle was over, but the aftermath was already taking its toll. Mechanics moved with a tired but determined efficiency, patching up the station's wounds. The hangar was a hive of activity, the sounds of welding and hammering creating a symphony of recovery. Jax trudged up beside her, wiping his hands on a rag. Cap, repairs are underway, but we've got a long way to go. We're running short on supplies. Ramirez sighed, her mind spinning with plans. We'll need to salvage what we can from the wreckage and put out a call to our allies. Maybe some old favors can be cashed in. Jax nodded. On it. What about the crew? They're shaken. Some are talking about leaving, heading back to friendlier space. She turned to him, her gaze steady. Talk to them. Remind them why we stay. This station has always been a haven, a place where anyone can start fresh. We can't give up now. He clapped her on the shoulder. You got it, Cap. We'll hold it together. As Jax moved to rally the crew, Ramirez felt a presence approach. Xylara's holographic image flickered to life beside her, transmitted from her now distant ship. Captain Ramirez, Xylara began, her voice clear but concerned. We are safe, but our journey has just begun. I wanted to thank you again and to warn you. The Trarax won't stop. They will come again, and in greater numbers. Ramirez nodded. We'll be ready. We held them off once, we can do it again. A flicker of emotion crossed Zalara's face. Be careful, Sylvia. The galaxy is changing. Alliances are shifting. When this is over, I hope we stand on the same side. Ramirez's hand hovered over the console, feeling the weight of command. We will, Zalara. Take care out there. The hologram faded, leaving Ramirez alone with the starry expanse. Her thoughts were interrupted by Rico's excited voice. Cap, you need to see this. She followed him to the main console where a series of encrypted messages blinked. Rico's fingers flew over the controls, decrypting the first one. Looks like one of your old pals pulled through, Rico grinned. We've got a shipment of supplies en route from the Kandori system. Should arrive in a few days. Relief washed over her, though tempered with caution. Kandori, that's a tricky part of space. We're going to need to make our gratitude clear. We'll be ready, Rico assured her. I'll handle the logistics. Ramirez moved to the command center, where a large display showed the station's status. Energy levels were low, hull integrity compromised, but the spirit of her people was unbroken. She tapped into the station's communication system. Attention, crew. This is Captain Ramirez. I want to thank each of you for your perseverance and bravery. We've been through hell and back, and we've come out stronger. Supplies are on the way, and we're going to rebuild. Slaveron Station isn't just metal and machinery, it's us. And as long as we're here, we'll keep fighting. Stand strong, and let's show the galaxy what we're made of. Cheers and shouts of encouragement echoed from every corner of the station, lifting spirits and solidifying resolve. Ramirez cut the transmission, a sense of pride swelling in her chest. As the day turned to night, the station's lights dimmed to conserve power. Ramirez walked through the now quiet halls, nodding to weary but determined crew members. She found herself back in the observation deck, the stars twinkling with silent promise. Rico entered carrying a small package. Hey, Cap, found this in the mess. Thought you might want it. She opened the package to find a bottle of aged whiskey, a rare treasure in these parts. Her lips curved into a smile. I was saving this for a special occasion. I think tonight qualifies. They clinked glasses, savoring the warmth and camaraderie the drink offered. As they stared out into space, Ramirez felt the weight of the future pressing on her shoulders. But it was a burden she was ready to bear, surrounded by a crew she trusted and a station she called home. We'll be okay, won't we, Cap? Rico asked, his voice soft with hope. Ramirez turned to him, eyes reflecting the stars. Yeah, we will. Because this is more than just survival. It's about holding on to what we've built and knowing that no matter what comes next, we face it together.